The kingdom of Athria was a land of vibrant beauty. Rolling hills adorned with fields of golden wheat stretched as far as the eye could see. Clear rivers snaked through green valleys, their waters teeming with life. At the heart of this idyllic kingdom stood Silverstream Castle, its white towers reaching for the heavens, a symbol of hope and prosperity. Princess Lyanna, Athria's beloved heir, possessed a spirit as radiant as her kingdom. Her laughter echoed through the castle halls, a melody that brought joy to every heart. She moved with grace and spoke with kindness, her wisdom beyond her years. Lyanna dreamt of a future filled with peace and harmony, her heart overflowing with love for her people and her land. The people of Athria adored their princess. They saw in her a ruler who would lead them towards a brighter tomorrow. But fate, as it often does, had other plans, weaving a tapestry of darkness that threatened to unravel the very fabric of their existence. The attack was swift and brutal. Malcor's army descended upon Athria like a plague of locusts, their blood-curdling cries shattering the peaceful serenity. The once tranquil lands were filled with the sounds of clashing swords and the screams of the fallen. Villages were ravaged, fields were burned, and the air was thick with the stench of burning wood and flesh. The once pure rivers now ran red with the blood of the innocent, a grim testament to the ferocity of Malcor's onslaught. The land itself seemed to weep for its lost children. Silverstream Castle, once a beacon of hope, became the last bastion of resistance. Its high walls and strong gates were now the only thing standing between Malcor and complete domination. Lyanna, her heart heavy with grief, fought alongside her people, her spirit unbroken. She wielded her sword with fierce determination, each strike a testament to her unwavering resolve. But Malcor's power was overwhelming. His dark magic was unlike anything they had ever encountered, a force of nature that seemed unstoppable. He brushed aside the castle guards effortlessly, their valiant efforts proving futile against his dark sorcery. The earth itself trembled beneath his feet as he advanced. His dark magic tainted everything it touched, transforming the majestic castle into a nightmarish fortress of shadows. The very walls seemed a pulse with malevolent energy. As Malcor stormed into the throne room, his eyes fixed on the defiant princess, a cruel smile spread across his lips. He relished the challenge she presented, seeing in her a worthy adversary. He saw Lyanna as a prize, a source of light that he could corrupt and twist to fuel his dark ambitions. Her defiance only made her more desirable to him. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashed a torrent of dark energy, binding the princess in chains of pure shadow. The chains seemed to writhe and pulse with a life of their own. The kingdom watched in horror as their beloved princess was dragged away, her cries echoing through the halls. The sight of their last hope being taken from them was more than they could bear. A prisoner in Malcor's dark embrace, Lyanna's fate seemed sealed. The people of Athria could only watch in despair, their hearts heavy with the weight of their loss. Hope seemed to vanish with her, leaving behind a suffocating silence that spoke of their despair. The once vibrant kingdom became a ghost of its former self. The fields lay barren, the villages deserted, and the castle stood as a grim reminder of their defeat. Yet, in the hearts of the people, a small ember of hope remained, waiting for the right moment to reignite once more. Sir Adrian, Athria's bravest knight, was away on a diplomatic mission when Malcor attacked. King Alden had sent him to negotiate peace with the neighboring kingdom of Eldoria, a task that required both diplomacy and courage. Unbeknownst to him, while he was away, a dark shadow had crept over his homeland. He returned to find his home in ruins, his heart heavy with a grief he had never known. The vibrant village of Silverbrook, where children once played and merchants thrived, was now a desolate wasteland. The air was thick with the smell of smoke and despair, and the cries of the wounded echoed through the empty streets. The sight of Silverstream Castle, now shrouded in an unnatural darkness, filled him with a chilling dread. The castle, once a symbol of hope and prosperity, now loomed like a sinister specter over the land. Its towers, which once shimmered in the sunlight, were now cloaked in shadows, and an eerie silence hung in the air. He learned of Lyanna's capture, of Malcor's evil, and of the despair that had gripped his people. The villagers spoke in hushed tones of the dark sorcerer who had taken their beloved princess, of the cruel magic that had turned their lives into a nightmare. Adrian listened, his heart breaking with every word, yet his resolve grew stronger. A fierce determination ignited within him, a burning vow to rescue his princess and liberate his kingdom. He knew the path ahead was fraught with peril, but he was ready to face it. His training as a knight had prepared him for battle, but it was his love for Lyanna that gave him the strength to fight. Adrian was bound to Lyanna by an oath of fealty, but his feelings ran deeper. He remembered the moments they had shared, the stolen glances and whispered words. She was his friend, his confidant, and in his heart she was so much more. The thought of her in Malcor's clutches was unbearable. He harbored a secret love for the princess, a love that blossomed in the shadows, unspoken but no less real. It was a love that had grown over years of shared adventures and quiet moments. Though he had never dared to express his feelings, it was the fire that fueled his every action. With a heavy heart but a resolute spirit, Adrian prepared for the perilous journey ahead. He donned his armor, each piece a reminder of his duty and his love. He packed his supplies, knowing that each item could mean the difference between life and death. As he mounted his horse, he took one last look at the ruins of his home, vowing to return with Lyanna by his side. He knew the dangers that awaited him in the Shadowlands, a realm from which few ever returned. The tales of the Shadowlands were filled with horrors, creatures born of nightmares, treacherous paths that led to nowhere, and a darkness that could devour the soul. But Adrian's resolve was unshakable. He would face these horrors for Lyanna, for his people, and for the hope of a brighter future. Fear had no place in his heart. His courage was a beacon in the darkness, a light to guide his way. He was driven by a purpose greater than himself, a mission that transcended his fears and doubts. With each step, he felt the weight of his responsibility, but also the strength of his resolve. Lyanna's love fueled his courage, urging him onward through the encroaching darkness. He carried with him a locket, a token of their bond, a reminder of what he was fighting for. It was this love that gave him the strength to face the unknown, to venture into the heart of darkness with unwavering resolve. The fate of Athria rested on his shoulders, the hopes of a broken kingdom embodied in his unwavering resolve. He was not just a knight. He was a symbol of hope, a beacon of light in the darkest of times. His journey was not just a quest to rescue Lyanna, but a mission to reclaim his homeland, to restore the light that Malcor had stolen. Adrian, the knight who loved in silence, would now venture into the heart of darkness, his love for Lyanna, his shield and his sword. With each step he carried the hopes and dreams of his people, the weight of his love, and the fire of his resolve. The journey ahead was perilous, but Adrian was ready to face it, for he knew that true courage is born of love and hope. Adrian's journey into the Shadowlands was fraught with peril. Every step he took was heavy with the weight of the unknown, and the very air seemed to hum with malevolent energy. The path before him was shrouded in darkness, the only light coming from the faint glow of his lantern, casting eerie shadows on the twisted trees around him. He traversed cursed forests where gnarled trees whispered dark secrets and phantom wolves haunted his every move. The forest was alive with the sounds of unseen creatures, their eyes glowing in the darkness, watching his every step. The ground beneath his feet was treacherous, with roots and vines that seemed to reach out and grasp at him, trying to pull him into the depths of the woods. He scaled treacherous mountains, their peaks lost in a swirling mist that concealed monstrous creatures of shadow and stone. The climb was arduous, with jagged rocks and slippery slopes that threatened to send him plummeting to his doom. The air was thin and cold, and every breath was a struggle. Yet, he persevered, driven by a resolve that burned brighter than the fires of the underworld. He waded through haunted rivers, where the wails of lost souls echoed through the mist, and ghostly sirens lured him with promises of oblivion. The waters were dark and murky, the currents strong, threatening to pull him under. The sirens' voices were sweet and seductive, promising peace and respite, but Adrian knew better than to listen. He hardened his heart against their temptations and pushed forward, his eyes fixed on the distant shore. Every step was a battle against the encroaching darkness, a testament to his unwavering resolve. The shadows seemed to have a life of their own, stretching out to ensnare him, but Adrian fought them with every ounce of his strength. His sword was a beacon of light in the darkness, cutting through the shadows and forging a path for him to follow. Through it all, Adrian clung to the memory of Liana's smile, her laughter echoing in his heart, urging him onward. Her image was a constant presence in his mind, a source of strength and comfort in the darkest of times. He remembered the way her eyes sparkled with joy, the sound of her voice, the warmth of her touch. These memories were his anchor, keeping him grounded and focused on his goal. He fought with the fury of a man possessed, each victory a step closer to his beloved. The battles were fierce and relentless, with enemies seemingly coming from every direction. But Adrian was a skilled warrior, and he fought with unmatched determination. His sword was an extension of his will, striking down his foes with precision and power. Each victory brought him closer to Liana, and he felt her presence grow stronger with every step. He knew that Liana was his light in this ever-encroaching darkness, and he would be her beacon, guiding her back to the world of light. The thought of her kept him going, even when the odds seemed insurmountable. He could see her face in his mind's eye, and it gave him the strength to keep fighting, to keep moving forward. He was determined to bring her back, no matter the cost. News of Adrian's quest spread throughout the land, reaching the ears of those who had lost hope. Tales of his bravery and determination were a beacon of light in the darkness, inspiring others to believe that there was still hope. People began to speak of the knight who was willing to risk everything for the woman he loved, and it gave them the courage to face their own challenges. Tales of his bravery and determination sparked a flicker of defiance in their hearts. The people of Athria, so long oppressed by darkness, began to feel a sense of hope and resolve. They saw in Adrian a symbol of resistance, a reminder that they too could fight against the darkness that had consumed their lives. Stories of his journey gave them the strength to stand up and reclaim their freedom. Inspired by their hero's unwavering love, the people of Athria began to rise from the ashes of despair, ready to fight for their freedom once more. They gathered their strength, armed themselves with whatever they could find, and prepared to face the darkness head-on. Adrian's journey had ignited a spark of rebellion, and the people were ready to fight for their future. They knew the road ahead would be difficult, but they were determined to reclaim their land and their lives, inspired by the knight who had shown them the way.